stress, then I said, oh, I should get out and get running. I should move my body. This will help. So I was running, injured my left Achilles tendon, did this and that with mainstream medical. And once they told me, well, your Achilles tendon is the size of a pencil, it should be the size of an index finger. That's why you hurt it. And it will just break someday and pop. And then I'll stitch you up and you'll never be the same again. And I thought, ooh, what else is possible? I asked myself. That doesn't seem like the greatest outcome. And I ended up meditating as I had my foot elevated anyway, 3 times a day, and imagining that I was sending a little helper down into my tendon and building it up, painting on more, adding more strength to it. 5 weeks later, I forgot I had to do that, and I didn't have any more pain. I went back and saw the specialist. And he said, how are you? And when he examined me, he was baffled. And he compared the Achilles tendon on the left side, which he remembered clearly was the size of a pencil. It was now normal size. So that was one of my healing experiences, which I then did, moved on in life, and promptly forgot that I had done that. So I didn't retrieve that ability and apply it after that, because it was sort of like, well, been there, done that, gone, move on. I was in corporate life for nearly 20 years in big jobs, high-tech telephone company in Canada, and then high-tech microscope companies and other high-tech down here in the United States when we moved back. And there I recognized that I was perceptive. I could read people well in the workplace, and had many challenges as a senior manager to deal with. Employees stealing time, alcohol problems, you name it, all kinds of things that one gets to address as a senior manager. And I ended up getting through those experiences well and really helping people choose their higher path. And in some cases, I helped them leave the company, but in other cases, they chose the higher path and improved what was going on. So all of that. So then I get to the point where my hips fall apart. I'm 50. I can't hardly walk anymore with the pain in my hips, just excruciating. X-ray shows both my hips rubble, bone on bone.
Wow.
So I get one left hip replacement at the very young age of 52 years of age, which is a crazy time to get a joint replacement. And it was challenging to go through. My surgeon was perfect. My legs are exactly the same length, and that's really important to people when they get, a joint replaced. But still, I had just amazing amounts of pain. Later, I found that part of it was pain from 2 other lifetimes where I'd had my legs cut off. And so my body stored all this trauma, recreated the experience to have a leg cut off and, new hardware put back in it. Fascinating as all that is. I didn't understand that for about 10 years, but that contributed greatly to the pain that I felt in the moment. And then finally I got to age 54 and I wasn't having fun at work anymore, despite the fact I'd been promoted yet again, and stuck my hand up and said, this isn't working for me, and left. And shortly after that, having the time to stop, relax, get centered, get quiet, get out in the garden more, walk more, all of my clairsenses started to open. I found your show relatively quickly in my journey and listened to lots of lovely speakers in your beautiful resonance, Darius. And that helped me cry out some more tears every session. It's like, okay, sob some more, another session, another speaker. Okay, sob some more. So I was releasing. And then my own gifts just popped open, and I claimed them and started playing with them, all the while going, wait a minute, what is this? And exit the stage left. This was such a huge shift for me to go from a corporate environment and a management environment for 35 years. And now to be shifting into this, woo spiritual, I'm talking to angels, I'm now
Hmm.
communicating with Commander Ashtar, and I'm going, I didn't see this coming.
That is
I did
amazing.
not see this coming. I often say, as I hear people say, well, at the age of 5, I knew I wanted to be
Yeah.
a nurse, and I've been a nurse, and 40 years have gone by, and I've had a great ride, and now I'm retiring. And every time I hear those stories, I go, wow, that was so different to my experience.
Oh, wow. And I remember you did one hip, then the other hip, I believe you went in and energetically began to kind of understand what was going on. Is that correct? Or am I?
Yeah, yeah, correct. So I'd had surgical replacement of my left hip. My right hip, I've been working on. So I can now
Mm,
walk again. I have my
wow.
days, and quite frankly, in the last 3 months, with the energies on the planet being heightened, it's been more challenging to keep that higher, more vibrant state.
Hmm.
But I know, and I'll speak about it more, this too will pass. I've chosen complete and total regeneration of everything in my
Mm,
body and youthening and so forth. And I know that that will arrive. But my journey with my right hip uncovered all kinds of
interesting.
information about not feeling supported. Oh, it's hip chakra,
Hmm.
root chakra
Hmm.
land. Am I feeling safe? All my past life traumas of having been an energy worker and getting killed most of the time at the end of the life. All of that trauma arose this lifetime, not feeling supported in masculine environments, being a female, doing management jobs. Just thing after thing after thing would come up, and I'd get present to it and go, oh, okay, well, what would you feel the energy, you reset the belief systems, and then you say, but what else is possible? And you say, now I'm choosing. So instead of feeling not supported much of my life, I said, what would it feel like to feel supported?
Mm, I
And
love
the
that.
better, the better I got at that. So I play in the energy of support a lot.
Yeah.
And I have, I'll give support to many, many people, other light workers, other people that are, doing their thing, and I share and support them. And when we're in the energy of support, that energy multiplies.
Yes.
So, and giving and receiving is just two parts of the energy. So, what we put out comes back to us. So, invariably, from all the support that I've given to others over the last 10 years, now I'm experiencing a tremendous feeling of being supported all the time. So, all of these different kinds of awarenesses are things we have an opportunity to access and work through as life gives us some kind of um, health experience or life experience. I work with just as many clients with concerning life experiences as health experiences. It's just something happening in our lives, and then I do have what I'll honestly say I recognize as a superpower. I have the ability to track and trace the underlying energy from what is created in the moment, what's the experience in the physical, and where are the roots of that energy?
Yes.
Where
And
where is it? Um, is it in an etheric record that needs correction? Is there a body of emotion that needs correction? What is it that needs to be uh, brought forward, illuminated with
yes.
light,
Yes.
illuminated, and thus then we have an opportunity to transmute the energy and set a new, call in the blueprints of perfection, restore the blueprints of perfection, and then make a new choice going forward.
I love that. And I wanted to share a story from Mary in San Diego who had written in to your offices at one point. She said, I knew something was off with my liver. Janet helped me understand what was happening and guided me to release the energy that was blocking my connection with spirit. My liver is functioning properly now. Now my spiritual clarity is back. Now I will say this, everyone is different. We're not offering medical advice, treatment, guidance, or diagnosis. We want to bring, like you said, Janet, that divine blueprint forward so that we are in alignment again. And that is one of the amazing things that you're able to do with how you see energy and how you see kind of these roots and these hooks going into perhaps spaces, places that don't serve us. Now, we are seeing a lot of people with physical challenges, mystery discomforts, chronic pains, unexplained anxiety, stubborn types of issues. What do you see going on with people when these types of things are becoming more and more common? What's happening?
It's fascinating, actually. We're moving from third dimension to fifth dimension. And our in the third dimension, our bodies are more dense, they're carbon based. In the fifth dimension, our bodies are more silicon light bearing, like a silicon chip. And in order to be able to receive light, assimilate light, emanate light, we have to lighten up our structure. And so we are all trying to lighten up.
I know.
So how, what are all the different ways? Well, in the physical body, how do we lighten up the physical body? Eating more minerals, eating more plant-based foods, choosing lighter foods, less
Mm,
heavy things like we might have chosen 20 years ago. And so and the body's thinning out. In order to hold third dimension, we had a lot of toxins in our body, that heavy stuff, heavy
mm,
metals, pesticides, chemicals, all that. And we start going, no, I need a pure body. I need a cleaner body. And so you hear people talking about eating clean, eating lighter. Plants are lighter, animals are heavier. So all of these changes, so the physical body shifting, well, what's happening in our emotional body? We're
mm,
lightening up. you know, Things
mm,
that used to come in and trigger us, and we get upset with others and we get upset with ourselves, and we're going, it's time to lighten up, time to
yeah.
move on. And so we're more able to go, oh, okay, something happened. uh, I'm not going to I'm not going to obsess on it. I'm going to put some forgiveness energy in there for them, for me. We were having a stressed week. We said some things. Let's just let it go, move on, choose a more compassionate, more harmonious, and more light way of proceeding. Have more joy, have more fun. So all of these things come. Someone then passes in our life, transitions over, or an animal companion. And all of a sudden we find ourselves really processing tremendous amount of grief energy. Well, it's challenging, yes, to go through, but if you're feeling grief, you need to get in and feel it. And
Mm,
it's also allowing us to access all the other stored grief that's been in our energy field and in our lungs, um, from all time, because that's where the body stores grief, is in the lungs. So we've had tremendous numbers of respiratory illnesses circulating in the earth plane, in the last 5 years, say. Well, what's up with that? Everybody's been clearing their lungs and clearing out that grief, and people passed and transitioned, and all of that was very, very difficult for people who are directly affected to go through. And yet, that soul that transitioned is now on the other side, happy, out of pain, joyfully watching what's going on with
yeah.
you here on the earth, supporting you, cheering you on. They're not here, you can't hug them. And I
Mm,
know, I really miss my mom. I would love to, get to hug her, but she made her transition 10 years ago. Um, so there you go. We can sell it. But I hear her. She's been talking to me 3, 4 times this week. She's come in, Janet, and I go, "Oh, hi, mom." But as we get more activating our multidimensional awareness, and we're realizing, yeah, I'm here in a body, but I'm also able to listen on the inner planes to beings that are not physically present here, the angels, my mother, Commander Ashtar, and we can send messages back and forth on the inner plane to people who are in a body. My
mm.
husband and I telepath about what needs to come home from the grocery store. It's far more effective than trying to reach each other on cell phone. Mine's always off, so it ticks him off
For
no
you.
end that he can't reach me. And I say, you can always reach me. Send me the intention. Telepath with me, and then he'll come home, and I'll say, did you pick up the whatever? as he's unpacking the groceries, or vice versa, I'm doing it, and we both go, "Oh, I was thinking we needed that. Thank you very much." So, we get all this fun, exciting, nuanced way to participate here on the earth plane, different than we've ever had it before.
Yeah.
And it requires bringing in more light, holding more light, emanating more light, and lightening up.
And lightening up. I appreciate that. And we're going to get into some of the ways and spaces and places we can store trauma energy, old frequencies, maybe emotions. You've been speaking a lot about eternal vitality. I haven't had you on the show for a few years. You look exactly the same and more energized, perhaps, than I remember. So, what is eternal vitality, Janet? And why did this start to come forward for you at this time?
Well, eternal vitality is our birthright. We've
Mm,
heard of the master, Saint Germain, having been in
yeah.
one body in Europe for 400 years, walking through walls,
Oh.
popping in here and there, present when the founding fathers of the
Mm,
United States were creating the sacred documents of our country's birthright. So eternal vitality is our natural state. Beings in fifth dimensions and above, their bodies look youthful, energized. This whole experience we've had on the earth of the body deteriorating and ultimately going into a death spiral, and then ultimately transitioning through the pattern of death. That's not something that the higher realms are doing.
mm,
They come into a body, have an experience for as long as they may choose, which can be hundreds or thousands of years in a single body, and the body serves them well. And when it's time for them to depart that life experience, then they sit down one day and make that choice, and poof, they're gone. Their soul is gone to the other realm where they're going to be playing from next, and the elemental kingdom takes the remaining elements in the
mm.
body and moves them. So ashes to ashes, dust to dust will become more of a reality, but not in the way we've thought of it
Right.
here on the earth, which is we have to plant you in the dirt and then the worms come. We don't have to do that. um, and there are examples that have occurred on the earth. There are communities, such as in New Mexico, where indigenous people got to the point where an entire community disappeared,
That is
and the stories are told.
transcended.
So
Yeah.
yeah, they ascended and
Ascended.
transcended. And so
Hmm.
they moved to the higher dimension where they were still visible to themselves, but not to us. Just as you may
Wow.
say, well, I know angels exist, I know that galactic beings exist. Why don't I see them? Well, they can see each other. And if we allow ourselves to get into a heightened state, then I can see more in my inner vision. I'll see the beings
Yes.
that I'm speaking to. Um, from
Yes.
time to time, I can perceive an energy shimmer or an
Hmm.
outline or the shape of someone who shows up in my bedroom in the middle of the night to have a conversation with me that's not from this realm, and it's like, whoa, who's in the bedroom here? Um, but that's just a dimension, and their bodies are lighter. They don't have as much material in them, they don't have as much density. So we don't perceive that high vibrating body of the angel, very high body vibrating, I
Hmm.
might add, or the higher vibrating body of an Arcturian ninth dimension. We don't see them with our outer eyes because they're vibrating so fast. It's like
Yes.
the light's just moving like this, and so we our eyes are trying to go, what can I focus on? Well, it's moving too fast. I can't see it. Yet the being might be quite present, around you, surrounding you. So, we're just living in some really amazing, exciting times. And as our bodies are making this big transition, third dimension to fifth dimension. This has not been done, two-dimension shift in any system of worlds ever.
Okay. Oh, that's
This is
interesting.
the
It's true.
this is the
Hmm.
first time. to go
Mm.
from third density, which is so carbon based, so dense, up to fifth in such a short period of time. So many systems of worlds have gone, okay, we're going third to fourth, fourth to fifth, sixth to seventh. The Arcturians, when I started working with them, were eighth dimensional civilization. They've moved up to nine. So one dimensional shift happens a lot. Two dimension shift, especially coming from as dense as we were, is remarkable. So we're going through it, right? We're
Yeah.
going through
Yeah.
it. We're needing to refine, detox, look at every thought we think, ask ourselves, was that a loving thought about myself? Was that a
Mm.
loving thought about another? If it wasn't a loving thought, it needs to be reframed. Forgive what I just thought, let it go, and go, well, what would be the more loving way to look at this situation? The emotions,
Wonderful.
all that energy in motion, emotion should just come, we feel it, it rises up and through, it's gone, poof, energy in motion. But if we've had energy within us that we haven't had the courage to feel, like grief, people often say, I'm afraid to start feeling it for fear I'll fall in that well and I won't climb out again. Well,
Correct.
in truth, the energy is, there's a finite amount of it. It's not an unlimited amount, but,
Right.
and it's
Right.
intense to feel it. People have been afraid
Mm.
to feel anger. Anger is a natural reaction to something or someone or some situation, which is help causing you to feel disempowered,
Right.
not empowered. We're powerful beings. So, think of it, anything that happens, don't put me in that box. Don't
Mm-hmm.
give me that limitation. No, I'm not doing that. Any of those kind of things where something or someone or government or, something going on in your life, a rule, a law is causing you to say, please shrink down, Janet, and just show up in this small space. And I'm a big being of light like you all are, and we go, and we respond with, often we feel some anger. That's
That's
us
right.
saying, no, 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 get back. I'm sovereign. I do not accept, these rules, these limitations. So, but that energy should just come through and it should inform us. Oh, what's happening here?
Right.
Someone's
And
coming
why am I
at me.
reacting this way? Or why
Why
is
am I
my
getting triggered?
reaction?
Yeah, this
Yes.
is my power center. This is my solar
Mm-hmm.
plexus here that's impacted. And on the back side of the solar plex, what organ is back there? The liver. So if we have had situations where anger was our response, but we didn't allow ourselves to feel it, we store it out of sight, out of
Mm.
mind, shove it back in the liver. Well, now
Yes.
we've got a liver that's congested energetically. How it cannot work well physically is it can be congested energetically and physically. You got a lot of toxins in you. Well, it's congested physically. It's working hard trying to get those toxins out. Energetically, it can be cluttered and with a lot of stagnant anger energy. So, what do we see happening in the outside world right now? A whole lot of people expressing anger. A
And
whole lot of people expressing anger. And some
yeah,
of them are mildly angry. I'm putting up my sign and I'm saying, I don't like this.
yeah,
And somebody else is flat out raging.
right,
Well, they're
right.
releasing anger. Now, some people are choosing to stir themselves, to whip themselves up in a frenzy because they've got a belief, and then the belief is causing more and more of that lower frequency energy. But other people are in the process of releasing some energy. It's been there for eons.
It's
And
true.
the circumstances of the day are allowing people to notice that. I don't like it when government tells me this. Well, how do you long how long
And,
do you think that's been going on the
I know.
planet?
And you know
You
what's
know,
funny? I mean, we've been through a lot, right? We went through COVID, we went through this and through that. And it's funny that some people that were not upset at all during that time are upset now. And so there's something about that situation where you're like, oh, well, that's great, but then whatever could be happening now is really upsetting them. So it's almost like the universe sets the play pieces on the chessboard or on the playboard perfectly to make sure that whatever reaction needs to happen happens, right? In a
Yeah.
particular way that's gonna. Now, I want to ask about how you see energy because we are going to grab some callers, and you connect to a lot of different sources. That's how you're able to read what's going on in the body so well. How do you sense energy, Janet? And then what other sources, be them maybe from higher beings, help you? Explain a little bit about that.
Um, I track all of my clairsenses are open. So when I started talking to my own body and saying, well, body, we got to get through this together. What do you need? Maybe I need to eat different things. Maybe I need to stop eating things. So I would go in the kitchen and say, body, body, body. What do you
Mm,
want me to eat? What do you need me to eat? And I recommend everyone do this every day. This is one way of harmonizing with our body elemental and helping us make this shift through this process to really ask your body and pay attention. So I started with that. And then I would see things. I would see
mm,
a food. And then I would taste a food. Oh, I'm supposed to drink
mm.
pineapple juice. I'd taste pineapple juice. Um, so so those kinds of things come in. If I'm working with a client and the client is saying, I'm having this experience. Let's talk mystery pains because it's one of the things we said we'd speak about.
Yes, yes.
So, so a client will say, "Well, I've got this pain. I've gone to the doctor. They can't find anything. I've had X-rays. There's nothing there." And I'm going, "Okay, great. So that should make you feel better, some relief that there's nothing in the physical that's to be concerned about. So take a nice deep breath and receive that." The
Mm,
vast majority of everything being created in the physical starts beyond it in the subtle bodies that we don't see. The etheric body, the emotional body, the mental body, which traps in emotions. So beliefs and conclusions trap in how we think we should feel about something, and then we get stuck with that emotion. But now the etheric body and the mystery pain. So I'll ask someone, well, what does it feel like?
mm-hmm.
And now what we're doing is we're accessing through the right side of the brain through analogy. We're able to kind of get out of the left side of the brain that's trying to figure it out. And we're now using the multidimensional aspect of the right side of the body, right side of the brain, which is this thinking in analogy, thinking in simile, thinking in this is like that. And that gets to subconscious and unconscious. So we can access energy by saying, what does it feel like? So a person will say, well, I'll say, well, what does it feel like? Well, it feels like somebody's stabbing me right there in the center of my chest. And I
Mm,
said, okay. So as soon as they say it, then I track the energy. I just feel it like there's a zing, kind of a moment of recognition. And I'll go, okay, well, let's go look at that.
yeah.
That pain, what does it feel like? Somebody's stabbing you. Well, what are they stabbing you with? Because I can see it. I can see the knife. I can see the arrow. I can see the whatever because I get this quick,
Wow.
consciousness. But it's so important to me to help empower people, give them questions, learn how to dialogue with their own energy. So when I say, well, what are they stabbing you with? And I said, just close your eyes for a second and allow yourself to get present with that. It
Yes.
feels like a knife. They may not see it, they may be using their clairsentience where they feel it. And I'd say, so I've already seen it. So then I'll say, yes, you're absolutely right. That's what I get too. It's a knife. Shall we pull it out? You know?
Yeah.
And so then we go and get the knife and pull it out and heal up the space and heal the physical body, which is really not
Wow.
harmed. It's the
Correct.
etheric body that's got a hole in it, and pull the knife out. And I said, so now, now we want to have forgiveness. Forgiveness for whoever was stabbing you in the moment. Forgiveness for whatever, I sometimes say this so that people will go both sides of it, for whatever you did or said that got them so ticked off that they grabbed a
Mm,
knife to stab you. there was two things going on there in the moment that was heightened. So let's just blaze violet flame of forgiveness through the whole scenario and be at peace with it. And then we may need in the session to do a blueprint correction, which is the blueprint. The etheric body has the hole in it. And
Okay.
and this is one of the things that contributes to loss of vitality. And you actually were doing something prior to the call, before we started the call, as those who had gathered a little early, you were talking about giving our energy away and leaking our energy.
Mm-hmm.
We can also leak energy through our etheric body through rips and tears and holes and perforations that have occurred over time when our physical body got harmed.
Yes.
Because if in some lifetime a stick fell off a tree, you happen to be riding under the tree on horseback, and the stick falls off and it pierces through your body and causes physical injury, in order to get to the densest layer, the physical layer, it went through your etheric body. So your etheric body has a hole in it,
Mm.
in the same place that the tear, the knife, the arrow, all of these things might have occurred, or the damage, or someone struck you. The etheric body gets damaged. So we can, and then we can leak energy. It literally, we're pouring in all this light and it's just leaking out the sides. We're pouring in all this light and it's
It's
just
like,
leaking out the sides. And
wow.
so that's one of the things that contributes at this stage to fatigue,
Yes,
is
that
that
makes
the
sense.
etheric body is leaking energy.
Wow.
And we can leak it in the ways that you described, which are, we're pulling in the energy, but then we're sending it out everywhere because our attention
Mm.
is diffused. That's one way to not hold our energy in, but it can be just leaking out through the holes in our etheric body. So in the program that I'm offering, when we get to that point, one of the things we will do is just acknowledging that many, many things might have happened to us in a body in this and other lifetimes. And our etheric bodies might have holes, rips, tears, perforations. They can occur from physical things. They can also occur from attacks on the etheric.
Okay.
So you got playing Star Wars and throwing lightsabers around with somebody else at some lifetime. Well, your etheric body might have a few, you know, holes in it from all of that slashing and stuff that you were doing with the lightsabers. So
Interesting.
so we
Yeah.
we will then strengthen and repair the etheric body. Well, all the way right there. Now you're not going to be leaking so much energy, and your vitality goes up because you're not just pulling it in, leaking it out.
Incredible. I want to get to more of that and also maybe some questions. I know we've had a lot of folks. Can we take a few callers that may have
Absolutely.
questions or just kind of want to get a sense of what you're picking up on? And folks, we're
Let's
going to
do.
keep, all right, we're going to grab and we'll try to move through these if we can, but I want to get to Jennifer. I've unmuted her. Jennifer, question for Janet. And Janet, what do you need to know from Jennifer or any of the other callers that we begin to work with on today's exciting episode?
Just your name, Jennifer. As soon as I hear your voice, I'll be able to connect with your soul and your being.
Okay.
And just the question. I don't need a whole, I don't need a lot of background. Just what's your question? What's going on and what's your question?
Yeah, hi Janet, hi Darius.
Yeah.
Janet, I'm in Australia. We've talked before, long ago.
Jennifer.
Yeah, hi. So my
Hi.
question is, I had shingles about 3 years ago, quite severely in the left side of my back, and even though that's all healed up, I still get burning sensations there.
Okay. So two things. There's a connection, Jennifer, to a lifetime. So notice shingles. The root of shingles is Epstein-Barr virus. The root of Epstein-Barr virus is related to chickenpox. That illness has the word pox in it. You have a lifetime, Jennifer, where you had smallpox or another form of pox. And so there's some pain around that experience that you're in your etheric body, it's still recorded. So let's just now, yeah, there's a lot of energy here. And for others on the call, So everyone now just connect with the possibility that you had some experiences with pox type illnesses over lifetimes. And forgive yourself for anything that you think or thought in that time frame that you did wrong that resulted in making you vulnerable. Forgiveness for and grief and sadness about not being able to care for others or others that were left behind if you left the earth plane in that transition, or other people dear to you made their exit during an experience with smallpox. Nice deep breath. And this is obviously group wide here. I can just feel the volume of energy that we're working on is huge. So okay, good. So Jennifer, that's where some of the roots of this were, older energy. In terms of what you can do to shore things up, L-lysine amino acid. So first off, I'm going to suggest some things. And
Yeah.
because I'm not a doctor, I'm making it clear that these are things I'm aware of, that I've written about, that I've read about, that are widely known to be helpful things related to shingles. If I suggest something, I invite each of you to go do your own homework, consult your own healthcare practitioner, make your own decision. Just like any of us that read something about natural healing, we have to stop and say, is this for me or not? But it's not a diagnosis or treatment. Okay, so I got to put that out there to keep the FDA folks happy. L-lysine is an amino acid, which is a boost of immune system. So very likely, Jennifer, you may have healed part of the shingles experience, but there may still be some of the underlying virus. So boosting your vitamin C, boosting zinc, quercetin helps absorb zinc, and L-lysine, all of those things I think will be helpful. And there's even L-lysine cream that you can get, a salve, and you can rub it right on the spots where the nerves are tender. So thank you very much for bringing that forward, Jennifer. That turned out to be really big for the group.
Oh,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Janet, and thanks, Darius. I'll just the image that I saw while you were talking about the pox was from around the time of the Black Death, was what I was seeing.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, it was old. It was in that, there wasn't a lot of light reaching the earth in that time, the dark ages. It was literal. And so we weren't getting a lot of vitamin D. And in the dark ages, we weren't all lightened up because we weren't receiving a lot of light and immune systems were down. So there were lots of things that contributed to illness and difficult times during that patch of time.
Look, and I just say thank you very much because I actually hadn't considered previous lifetimes in regard to what was going on. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you, Jennifer. And let us know how you're feeling as this unwinds. I want to go to Amy F, who has her hand raised. Amy, you are live with Janet and Darius. What's going on?
Hi, thanks, Darius. Thanks, Janet. I've got a couple of things going on. The first is about 3 weeks ago, I had some sort of virus, at least that's what my doctor says, which is still impacting me. I have had uh, basically my ears popping and in a lot of pain and a lot of stuffed ears. Also, stuff in my eyes, some sort of coexistent infection. And on top of that, I had surgery last week for an infected cyst. So I'm pretty exhausted right now and sort of feels like I'm never going to get over this, which I know is not true. But I'm wondering if there's anything you can tell me that I might be able to do.
Yeah, Amy, lots of love coming your way. Well, some of what I just said to Jennifer about viruses, we should all know this. We've all heard vitamin C and zinc, vitamin C and zinc, vitamin C and zinc for viruses. And then the trick to getting the zinc into the cell is to have quercetin and vitamin C. And those two things drive the zinc into the cell. So anytime we've got a viral infection, that's just good stuff to know. And quercetin is the yellow colored phytonutrient. When your broccoli is no longer green, it's because the chlorophyll is broken down, and then we see the yellow in the broccoli. Well, the yellow was already there, and the yellow is quercetin. And it's just we can see the yellow now because the chlorophyll, the green, has broken down and degraded. And that's true of most green vegetables. But broccoli is just an exciting example that we can all recollect when we've got a piece of broccoli in the fridge and it's really old, it turns yellow. Or so we thought before, but now we know. So those things would support your viral load. But Amy, let me just see if there's anything else on your etheric body, emotional body. Lord Sananda or Jesus came in, Amy, just with this message. He says, please be at peace with your experience. And he's got, for everyone else listening, if you've got something going on, and you too, like Amy, are finding the emotion come up, you're a bit battle weary, you're tired, kind of beaten down by all the things that have been happening in your life. He's just sending each and every one of you a big wave of love, and I'm adding mine to it. This too will pass. And how do we navigate these things? We keep our intention that we, in that phrase, this too shall pass. I don't know how many times I've said that for myself. This too shall pass. And then just keep asking your body, 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 body. And someone else, Sarah's just added here in the chat, elderberry extract for viruses. Spot on, Sarah. Elderberry extract, such a beautiful berry. And if you're feeling, whatever you're feeling that's arising, sometimes people will say, my clients will say to me, Janet, this health experience, I'm mad, I'm feeling mad, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling sad about the health experience. And what I invite you to do is to say, what am I feeling? And then realize that the roots of what you're feeling, actually the health experience is not causing you to feel sad, angry, or whatever now. It's assisting you. It's allowing you. It's supporting you in gaining access to that old emotion that could be there from lifetimes. So it can be helpful when you've got an emotional response to not feeling great, which we all typically do. It's not that fun. You know, who else going, oh, yay, I feel terrible. You know, no, you know, we may start feeling sad about, oh, gee, I'm feeling ill. So therefore I'm now not able to go do this, which I was looking forward to. So now there's the energy of disappointment. Then you could ask yourself, when you get present with that, you could ask yourselves, what else in life have I still got some disappointment energy about? And track the disappointment. And then you may be able to surface other moments where you can go, yeah, things happened. I was looking forward to things. I didn't get those things. Different things happened. It was disappointing. I'm going to feel that and release it. Blaze the violet flame through it. One of the best tools we've got for working with emotion as it's arising, to diffuse it, transmute it, fill it with light, fill it with love, dissolve it back into love, and move on. So, Amy, those are the suggestions I have for you, adding Sarah's beautiful guidance here that she popped in there about elderberry, and just being really gentle with yourself. A lot of extra water too when we're processing any kind of infection. Oh, and one more thing came in for you, Amy. The ears, the eyes, affected by infection up in the sinuses. Golden seal, that herb, it is the go-to for sinus infection. So what I was getting when you said your ears were hurting and popping is there's pressure in your sinuses. So golden seal, it's not, don't trivy with this herb. It's potent, so it's not something you treat like a tonic herb and you take it every day of your life. You take it for 7 to 14 days, and then you let it be and drink lots of extra water. But it's the number one herbal remedy for sinus pressure and sinus gunk in there. One more thing I'll share about gunk in our bodies, mucus, wherever it may be, in the sinuses, in the lungs, our bodies purge toxins and emotion and dense energy into gunk. And then we need to cough it out, thin it out, drink more water so we thin it out. If you can collect it, and then spit it out rather than swallow it. I go through a ton of Kleenexes. And I know, my nose will just start running. I know that what my bodies do is releasing, releasing, releasing. Yeah. So it's not sickness, it's purification. That when that's happening for me, I know it's purification. And I just buy bamboo Kleenex and try not to cut down trees.
Wow.
So, Amy, much love to you, sweetie. Get better, dear.
Thank you so much, Janet. That's great advice. I'm going to go eat some broccoli.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. And we will have this replay posted for anyone that got a chance to chat with Janet. I know it's just a wealth of information, probably a couple pages worth of things to begin doing and looking at, plus the energy work. So we're going to have this posted. I know a lot of folks will want this. I do want to ask you, Janet, before we do the process too, is what's happening with the DNA? A lot of people believe that we've got maybe 2 strands activated, maybe a few of us have 3, I don't know, but there's this belief that the rest are all kind of junk DNA. But yet there's another vein where we are being told that we're activating this. I mean, what is the story? How does this tie into some of what you do in your work?
The beautiful question and fascinating subject. And in fact, in the program, I've got the 4th session, which is in package B. I'm going to really dive into this. But our 12-strand DNA was contributed to by 12 founding races of galactics. So our original angelic human blueprint had all of these contributions of all this beautiful energy and all the abilities that we would have if we were already vibrating at that much higher frequency.
Correct.
So what is some of the abilities that are in that? I'll call it latent rather than dormant. Latent, meaning it's just offline at the moment, and it's an off-on switch to turn it back on. So let me just put it this way for a minute. Why would we not want all of our 12-strand DNA to just pop on right now all at once? It would overwhelm us.
I felt trauma thinking about that.
Yeah, so just think about it. Right now, what can we see with our eyes? We can see physical beings that are 3rd dimension, 4th dimension beings. If all of a sudden you can now see all of the other beings, the gnomes, the sylphs, the skies alive with the sylphs flying by and angels swooping in and the galactic ships everywhere, and when you wake up in the middle of the night, 3 ascended masters are standing there and having a conversation with you, I think a lot of us might go a little too much too fast. Thank you.
Yeah.
A little too much too fast. The first time I heard beings speaking to me in my ears, and three angels were with me, and I'm going, whoa, who was that? Because they said, let us help you. And I'm kind of startled, and then they identified themselves, and I had the awareness of which angels it was. And then for 3 days, I was in the, maybe I'm not worthy to speak to angels. How did I ever have this happen? I had to release all of this fear, and I'm not worthy, and oh my gosh, aren't angels busy? How do they have time to talk to me? And offer to help me in all of my intuitive work. So this is why all of our 12-strand DNA doesn't just pop all on.
Yes.
we'd be teleporting all over the place, and we'd be popping in and popping out and running 5 bodies consecutively, and it might be a little bit too much. So this is why it's going in phases. So yes, all of the 12-strand DNA will activate. Don't be in a big rush to have all of them activate now. Trust in it's happening in divine timing and for people in the pace that it's meant to.
Yes.
But included in the 12-strand DNA are the body's higher abilities to be the self-healing machine that it is. That,
Yes.
Right now we know our bodies can regenerate. We cut our skin, it heals. We break a bone, it heals. Could it do it much faster? Yes, absolutely. And are there other healing abilities like, oh, today I have a virus, tomorrow I don't? What might the med beds do? Which is just a technology that's up on the ships in the galactic healing chambers. So all of this is coming to us. So we can be excited and happy, and in the moment, we need to be with our experience in the moment. But what I've been shown is the DNA, and I've been working with a mentor off and on who's from the Sirius star system, and he's been teaching me helping me remember what I already know about DNA. And there are specific pairs and specific strands that do different things. So those of you who are more clairvoyant already, who receive a lot of, mind pictures and images of things, well, you've already activated some of your of beyond the 2-strand DNA. You have already activated DNA that might be in your 3rd, 4th, 5th strand, where your clairvoyant abilities naturally live. Or if you're very clearly having conversations with people on the inner planes, those are some DNA strands, clairaudience, that's in those subsequent strands that have been latent, simply meaning offline. And you can turn them on with your intention. Like the moment I wrote down, I am clairvoyant, I am clairaudient, I am clairsentient, I am claircognizant, I am clairgustatory. I wrote all those down and claimed them. And in so doing, I started popping on all of those DNA strands.
Wow. Wow. Oh,
So you
Janet.
can rapidly accelerate your whatever it is you wish to experience by making an I am statement and saying, I'm open to this. But being clairvoyant didn't mean that I necessarily was ready when the first time when my father from another star system appeared to me as this gray hulking body in my bedroom. And I kind of went, whoa, who is this? Who is this? I immediately called Michael. Is this,
Yes.
Archangel Michael and I were on a first name basis. Michael, is this being okay? Yes, he assured me. And standing right behind my father in his light body were 2 Pleiadians that I recognized. I'd had 1 or 2 conversations with them. I recognized their energy signature. Not recognize faces, but energy signature. Oh, they feel familiar.
Correct.
And they were standing behind him. And it was like, well, okay, this being is here for some reason. I had no idea what I was going to receive. And then I felt a finger. He placed his finger at my 3rd eye. And I realized, oh, I'm going to get a download. So I received, and I felt the energy come in, boom. And then the 3 of them, and Michael, they all disappeared. And then the next day, the energy started to unpack. And then I went, oh, that was my father from actually my home star, which is in a different universe. And why did he show up? Because several days before I'd asked the question, so I want to learn more about my origin, my home star, my family.
Yes.
In the asking, it is given. He wouldn't have shown up if I hadn't asked, because I wouldn't have been ready. So for all of us, the more questions we ask, so any of you've got something going on, and of course, I'm not going to be able to take all your questions, but the first thing I invite you to do is ask a whole lot of questions about what you're experiencing. Could this have something to do with a past life? Is there emotion related to this that I need to feel? Is there an ancestral trauma or pattern here that I'm now, experiencing? The more questions you ask, the more information you'll receive. And it could come to you in a dream. It could come to you while you're showering. It could come to you while you're taking a walk in nature. Or you may read something and you go, wait a minute, I think that might be the answer to the question I asked 3 days ago.
Incredible.
It's
Well,
not all that,
yeah.
a higher level being pops in your bedroom and answers your questions. You know, that's not generally the way that most of us get most of our information, but it can happen, just so you
It
know.
can happen. Wow. Well, that is very interesting. I think I'll opt for the text message or maybe the email list, the email subscribe list. No, it's perfect and complete. However it comes in, we know that. I want to. This is super exciting. We're going to move into a process today, and maybe this would be a good time to ask some questions in this process or at some point whenever Janet recommends it. But we're going to be doing a cellular vitality boost, and this is going to be to help us release density in our cells. And I'm very excited what's going to show up as we release the density. There's going to be space for something else, and that's where I think we are going to have a rich set of possibilities come in. So, Janet, whenever you're ready, I'd love to dig into that process and begin this for people. And if you are listening in on X, Facebook, or YouTube, where we're streaming right now, I'm going to cut the stream for those folks. Everyone here on Zoom, you are good. But if you are listening on another platform, just go to the link that we're going to share. It'll be in the description to get the full energy process. We want to make sure that you don't listen while you're driving. So we're going to cut it here for those folks. But Janet, for everyone else who's here and with us on Zoom, what are we going to do today?
Oh, that's exciting. I didn't realize we had all those platforms live. So hello
Yeah,
to
we
all
got
of.
them. Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. You're reaching a bigger and bigger audience. All right.
Thank
So
you.